Hello and welcome back to the Wheel Talk Podcast Giro edition. Today I'm joined by Tilda Price.
Hello, ciao. Happy to be here.
We're halfway through.
I know. I kind of can't believe we're halfway through. Like, it hasn't really kicked off yet, has it?
Well, I guess that depends who you ask.
Yeah, today was good. I think we saw some cards laid on the table today.
That is true, and we will talk about it right now. Stage 4 of the Giro, won by Clara Emmond, the Canadian on EF-Oatly-Cannondale in her Giro debut. And not only is it her first professional win, it's her first win ever, which is just incredible for to take your first win at the Giro, a World Tour stage race with as much prestige as this race has, ahead of riders like Soraya Paladin and Cecilie Uttrup-Ludwig, big name riders who have been riding for a really long time, is really impressive. But she was able to take this win because she got in the early breakaway, rode in the break all day, left her breakaway mates behind on the final 3 climbs of the day, and rode to the finish with a pretty healthy gap.
Yeah, did you think she was going to make it? I didn't really think she was until she did.
She looked so solid on the climb that I actually, when I was watching the group behind, the only time that I thought, oh, never mind, she's doomed, was when Elise Chabbey and Erica McNulty attacked, because they were coming with so much speed on that descent. But then as soon as they hit the next climb, they weren't making up any time anymore. So on the climbing part, it was pretty clear, I think, when the camera panned to her, how comfortable she looked. Having been out there all day, I was surprised at how collected she was on that final climb. She didn't look, exhausted at all at that point. So then I was like, all right, she's got this. And especially when that chasing group behind, they ran out of road to be able to chase her. There were so many strong riders in that group. They had, Cecilie Uttrup-Ludwig is in there, Soraya Paladin, Elise Chabbey, Brodie Chapman momentarily, which we'll definitely get into in a minute. Kim LaCourte had an incredible ride again today. She's just race after race. She is so impressive. But yeah, they had a lot of really strong riders in there. I think if it had been another 5 kilometers of flat, she would have been doomed. But she just climbed so well that she had it.
Yeah, it was amazing how she didn't tire at all. I think if it'd been any other rider, it's kind of formulaic, isn't it? You just expect that after being out front alone for so long, you think they're going to be tired, the gap is going to come down. But she just never ever slowed down. And yeah, the only time where they made time up was on the descent. And then as soon as it went up, it was like, oh, this gap is not falling anymore. And they didn't really get anywhere. McNulty and Chabbey in the end, they were caught again. So yeah, like a mad strong ride from Emmond, I thought. Very, very impressive.
Even more meaningful for her and also for EF-Oatly-Cannondale because, like Letizia said yesterday in her audio diary, their GC hopes kind of went out the window yesterday and also during the time trial. And so they were now playing for stage wins, and then to turn around the next day and take the stage is a really awesome thing for the team and morale within the team. And as a new team that is not World Tour, they're going to be really happy with their race, even though they came in with potentially more ambition.
Yeah, that's what she said at the finish there, wasn't it? That they wanted to bounce back and turn around after yesterday. And pretty good hit rate to do it immediately on the first stage where you want to turn your race around. So yeah, a huge result for them. And they just continue to impress, don't they? I mean, I guess we shouldn't have expected anything else given the setup that they have behind them, but you never know what to expect from a brand new team, no matter what riders and money and managers you have. But they're just kind of going from strength to strength this year. And it's kind of a shame that they don't have that GC rider anymore necessarily, because they're just, impressing on every level at the moment.
We actually have an audio diary from teammate of the winner, Letizia Borghesi of EF-Oatly-Cannondale. So really excited to hear this one.
Hi, I am Letizia Borghesi of the team EF-Oatly-Cannondale. Today we rode the 4th stage of Giro, and yes, it was a really good one, and we had a really special day because my teammate Clara Emmond won the stage, and it was just amazing. We came from a really tough third stage where we went off from the general classification, and we were super motivated to try to do well and bounce back after this hard day. And Clara did something amazing, a really nice victory, with a really long breakaway, and she rode at the end 40K solo, and I'm really happy for her. She deserved so much this victory, and when you won such a big race, the atmosphere in the team is suddenly so nice, and we had a lot of nice moments in the afternoon and evening to celebrate the victory. And let's see the next days, and we hope to be able to do some other nice performance like this one.
Yeah, because I really thought the way that Xabi descended when she attacked that group that she actually maybe had a chance. I was like, oh my God, a successful Xabi attack. This almost never happens, if ever. And I was very excited, especially given how well she climbs. But it was yet another doomed attack. And Soraya Paladin rode super well to finish second on the stage. And especially on that final climb, it was cool to see her get, up ahead of Cecilia Tripolitibig to finish second. But I think that they'll be a bit disappointed, especially because Sile and Kim LaCourte have now jumped up on the general classification, bumping their riders down one.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give it to Xabi for always trying, despite the kind of low success rate. But you do kind of think that would it have been a better approach? I mean, as you kind of alluded to have to have one of them commit to the chase and kind of give up their race a little bit for the other one, because they're clearly both feeling good today. If one of them had really committed to the chase and then to set up the other one for the finish, and I think either way round could have worked, but instead the kind of attacking and then going for it in the finish, it's kind of you lose out on both of those opportunities, which was a bit of a shame because they looked like they were in a really good position, but just didn't quite play it the right way, perhaps.
But I think Sile will be relatively happy with her performance today. She was, a stage win would have been amazing for her, and also for my Escape Collective fantasy comeback, since I picked her for today. And I've never failed to pick outside of the top 3, but have yet to pick the winner, which is a stat, but does not do me any favors. But I think she'll be happy with how she was able to ride today, coming third on the stage, but also moving into third on the general classification is an even bigger deal. And she's actually only 38 seconds down now in the general classification. So it went from being kind of a slow start to the race, and we're only on stage 4, to now she's in a pretty decent position, and coming off of that injury that she had earlier in the season. This is a huge performance from her. It's kind of the first time that we've seen her back at the head of the peloton since she crashed in Omloop Nieuwsblad.
Yeah, she kind of is, apart from the actual stage winner, the big winner of today. And yeah, I think yesterday really impressed me as well when she kind of went off the back and then went straight to the front. She's racing perhaps a bit more actively and aggressively than we've seen her before. And I know that she's come under some flack before for kind of not always being the rider that puts in an effort on the front of the race. But she's giving it everything in this race, but also kind of in a measured way, like not doing attacks that aren't going to work. But she was kind of animating that chase. And yeah, moving up to third is a really big result for her, and it's really good to see her on good form and not just kind of burning out too easily. And yesterday she let herself recover and come back. So I think that really bodes well. It's not kind of a pan bit of form today or yesterday. She is building well into this race, and third is a really good position to be in at this point.
And we also have an audio diary from Grace Brown. So let's hear how the team feels about it.
Hello, Abby and Lauren. Grace Brown here. We have just finished stage 4. I'm on the massage table trying to recover, but we're staying in a hotel up on some hillside with no air conditioning and bit of a farmhouse style, which isn't probably the best for recovery. So we'll see how we deal with that. But yeah, halfway through the Giro now, and it's been pretty hard so far, especially with the heat. I'm definitely struggling since I came down from altitude recently and it was not hot in the Alps. So not so fun for me, but Scylla had a really good day today. She slipped into a group that went ahead of all the GC favourites. So she finished third on the stage and has moved up to third overall on GC, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we came into this tour with not really any GC aims. We just want to try and win a stage. So yeah, it's nice that she's doing so well after a really tough year. Yeah, super happy for her. And yeah, but we've still got 4 really hard stages to go. I don't think it's going to cool down at all. So I'm just hoping to finally adapt to the heat so that I can be of some use to the team. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I've been rooming with Scylla. It's been fun. The team's all happy and getting along well. Lots of jokes at the dinner table. Yeah, I'll speak to you next time maybe. Thanks for listening. Bye.
The other 2 big topics of the day, or going into the day, is the GC conversation with Little Trek on the one hand and ST Works on the other. Lotte Kopecky, 13 seconds down. I really thought that she might try something today, and she did, but she left it real late, and Elisa Lamborghini was just better in that final sprint. Very Strada Bianchi-esque coming into the line, even down to like the final corner. And yeah, maybe Kopecky was trying to get seconds, which she's only 13 seconds down. So even 1 second is 1 second less than 13 seconds. But Elisa was having none of it. She was like, nah, I've got you marked. But I think the more interesting thing in the GC conversation is not so much Kopecky, more that Trek did almost nothing until they really had to. There, at a certain point, it was only Movistar pulling on the front when that 15-rider group went. And they actually called Brody Chapman out of that 15-rider group back to the peloton, the very, very reduced peloton, to chase, because Elisa said after the race that they were a little bit worried about Sile.
Yeah, it was a strange one, wasn't it? Because they did not take control of the race in a way that you might expect the pink jersey team to. It almost felt to me that they cared more about Kopecky than Sile, which I understand. Like, Kopecky is closer, but at one point, Uttrup Ludwig could have taken the jersey, and they were kind of just letting this happen, let the gap be a minute, because she only started a minute and a half down, and the gap was over a minute at one point, but they seemed so focused on Kopecky, which, seeing that final climb, I can understand why. But like, I thought at a certain point, I was thinking, like, are they just letting this group go? Like, do they want to have a couple of days out of pink and go back for it? Like, are they not that fussed about it? So then actually I was surprised when they said, oh, we called Chapman back because we wanted to control it, because I was like, well, you haven't controlled it until now. And it really seemed like they were just kind of, happy to let it go and put all the focus on Kopecky, which I guess worked in the end, because then, Kopecky didn't take any time on them. But yeah, she's conceded a lot of time to Ucha Ludwig, which I would say if you're a longer Borghini type rider, you don't want to concede that time to a rider like Cecilia at this time. So yeah, I was quite surprised with Trek today. I think they kind of need to show a bit more like assertiveness in this race, perhaps. Like they have the pink jersey, they have a strong team. Like sometimes you can't sit back and let Movistar be doing the work. Like you're the big team here. And even if it's just from a symbolic point of view, sometimes you have to say that. But they were just marking Kopecky, it felt like.
I mean, they called Brody out of that group because Elisa Longoborghini was like almost completely isolated. She only had Gaia left. After those two climbs, the peloton was just tiny. And yeah, only one teammate left in the group who's also, in theory, kind of floating around the GC conversation. So they're not even like playing defense. They're almost just like trying not to be as involved with the race as they possibly can and just kind of like skate by with the pink jersey unseen, hoping that they can kind of make it as easy for themselves as possible. And perhaps they're a little bit worried about like stages 6, 7, and 8 because those are going to be 3 stages that are going to be really hard to defend. But yeah, it's definitely today wasn't really a day where she could have gained time, but you definitely don't want to go into stage 7 with people closer to you on GC than they were before.
Yeah, and there are certain riders that you can let get up the road and just accept that you're going to let them take some time, like perhaps Lecourt or whoever else was in that group. Like you just go, oh, okay, like Magnaudi, you just kind of take the loss. But I wouldn't put a Ucha Ludwig in that category. And yeah, I think they are trying to kind of coast it a little bit. And it is hard when you have this kind of two-pronged attack, because obviously if they can avoid it, they're not going to ask Riolini to kind of do some hard work on the front. But it's kind of a dangerous game balancing that, because you may get to the point where, if that gap had gone out to say 2 minutes to Ucha Ludwig, then you have to make the decision to chase, and then do you kind of sacrifice Riolini for that? Like it could lead to some difficult calls. Whereas if you keep it a bit more controlled throughout, then maybe you don't have to make those kind of last minute decisions. But yeah, I kind of want Trek to just kind of like wake up a little bit and stamp their authority a little bit on the race. But I don't know, can't criticize it too much because they're in the lead. They didn't lose time to Kopecky, but yeah, she doesn't have the lead that she did have a few days ago.
It's like they're almost playing SD Works game back at them, because this is kind of how SD Works plays. They don't like to control the race like until the very end, and Little Trek is like, oh well, if you can do it, we can do it.
Maybe, and I guess if you see that working for them, then, but it's not usually what we expect from Little Trek, is it?
Well, I think tomorrow will be a little bit different. It's potentially a sprint stage. It's the quote flattest stage of the race with one category 3 really early in the stage, 14.6 kilometers into the stage, and then kind of rolling, but not anything like we've seen so far this race. And then it just goes down on the profile to the finish. So I think tomorrow we're looking at a fast finish. So maybe they'll control the race for Balsamo.
Yeah, you would imagine so, right? But then equally, like for some reason, you can see this stage as being one of the ones where, like, they try and do something here for some reason. Because this is the Giro and this is women's cycling. But I'm kind of hoping they just kind of, like, I would say this is their day to control. You're in pink. You have one of the favorite riders. Like, you can't like give up that responsibility for this long. So I will welcome some control there. But yeah, this could be an interesting day, and like there are relatively few sprinters in this race, so if other teams want to try and make it exciting, then they will, and Trek need to be kind of on the ball with that, I think.
We'll see. We're going to close out this episode with an audio diary from DSM-Firmenich PostNL, but it was supposed to be Becky's story, who went down in an early crash today, a nasty early crash that involved most of the Cofidis team, and she did not finish the stage. So we'll see who they send over for an audio diary instead. Tilda, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Have fun in France.
We can't talk about it. I'm leaving the last 4 days of the Giro for a race we shall not talk about. Don't drop me in that.
We've finished stage 4 now, which I think has been the hottest one so far. A bit more hills, so that makes the heat a bit worse. We did do some heat adaptation coming into it, so that definitely helps. It was much less hectic on the flat coming into the climb. But there was quite a big crash near the bottom. I did get caught behind it, and I think all cyclists that race know the fear that goes through your body when you see riders come down in front of you and you're still coming at them at 30 kilometers per hour. But luckily I managed to stop and avoid it. I found the climbing quite hard today. I don't think the heat helped, but made it through, and back at the hotel we're staying at a really nice sort of chateau vibe place, beautiful views, and yeah, we're just heading for dinner now.